So if you're like me, you might be tired of your clinical, digital-looking camera footage, but I found an affordable vintage lens that took my footage from that kind of boring, basic look to creamy and, dare I say, cinematic image. Yes, I know that word's overused, but it's still a real word, and I made something with it that I think you might like. Let's watch it, and then I'll see you in a sec.
Just relax, though.
Before the comments flood in, no, that was not shot on a Helios lens, and no, that was not a pregnancy announcement video. There are no buns in Lauren's oven. Yet. Every single frame in this video is shot on the vintage lens we're talking about today. Before I reveal what lens I shot everything on, I want to talk about the Spec Ad just a little bit and break it down because it was freaking fun to make. I gotta say, huge shout out to my buddies Tucker Anderson and Connor McCaskill for helping me shoot this project.
Why are you here? I don't know.
Just hanging around.
During the recent NBA Finals, I kept seeing this beautiful commercial that was shot by the legend Ryan Booth. This NBA Finals commercial is absolutely beautiful. I loved the energy of it and how it felt raw while still being like really highly produced. And I wanted to capture that similar feeling or vibe, but obviously on a way smaller scale. And I really wanted to do it with friends because I've missed that feeling of just like grabbing a camera, getting some buddies, and just making something because it's fun. And I also wanted to do something that challenges my skills. I feel like I've kind of put myself on cruise control with YouTube. It's easy to just like churn out videos, but I wanted to try something that would push me out of my comfort zone. And I feel like we got there, but I want to break it down a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I wanted this project to be something where it's just the boys hanging out, shooting stuff, and whatever it turns into, it turns into. Very minimal planning. We had a little inspiration with the NBA Finals commercial.
I don't think there's any talent involved, so I'm pretty sure you're out of focus.
I don't think I've talked about it very much on this channel, but basketball has been a huge part of my life, specifically in my early childhood to high school years. Being in the NBA was my first big dream ever. Obviously, that's not gonna happen, but we can at least make videos that look cool and make me look better than I am, so that's fun. And I found this super crusty old basketball hoop near my house that seemed like a perfect location to shoot an ad like this. Just something really raw and rugged looking. And I knew I had to go there with the boys to make this thing happen. Ran into our first issue. The old Ursa was getting a record error, right?
Yes.
So we're thinking it might be a cable.
Right there. Thank you, sir.
Now, this isn't good filmmaking advice, but we went into this with essentially zero plan. All I showed the guys was that NBA Finals commercial that Ryan directed. And I had this idea of maybe pulling out my old childhood shoes, and in the back of my mind, I knew I had some old VHS tape footage of me playing basketball as a kid, and I was like, maybe I could do some sort of cool like flashback sequences to kind of like create a narrative in a really short ad like this. I figured if we just got a bunch of cool shots of me practicing and playing, dribbling, all that, I could probably tie something together in the edit. And that is absolutely where this whole thing came together. Also, we just came up with a bunch of cool ideas on the fly while filming, and I can't stress enough like how much fun that is to do. Even if you do a full pre-production process, I like to leave wiggle room to collaborate with people, and because sometimes like just having people to bounce ideas off of, it will elevate your idea, and it's also just more fun. And specifically, my favorite thing that happened on the fly was the moment where I changed shoes in the beginning of the video and put my first pair of shoes on the table. Right before we were about to finish shooting, we had the idea, I think Connor came up with the idea. It could be a nice,
you
like,
pick up those shoes and those shoes are behind it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
That's it. That's it.
I thought that was a really cool way to end the video and like have the logo cut in right over the little shoes.
Bro, that's
Is that it?
Dude, that's
Okay.
sick.
Cool.
That totally happened on the fly, and it kind of became the perfect beginning and bookend of the ad that just cool. But where everything came together for this spec ad is in the edit, so I wanna go over like the audio side of that really quick. For this project, I decided to partner with my friends at Uppbeat. This is gonna sound kind of weird, but all the music that you're hearing in this YouTube video and in the spec ad from earlier was all selected using AI. Uppbeat has this new AI playlist generator that's powered by ChatGPT. Yeah, it's freaking sweet. I ended up finding the best tracks for this project when I just typed in basketball commercial. It was a super simple prompt, but it got me there. I think the song I ended up with in the spec ad was sick, but there are a couple honorable mentions that I'd like to show you really fast. We gon' run it all day. I like to use multiple music services in my work just to have different options, but what's cool about Uppbeat that's different is they have a free subscription that obviously you don't have to pay for, but you can use all that free music in whatever projects you want. And they also have a paid version where you get access to their entire library of music plus sound effects. And I used Uppbeat sound effects for the spec ad in the beginning of this video. I like to partner with companies that I actually use for my projects and that will actually benefit you guys. So if you're interested in that, click the links in the description, check it out, support them to support me. You know how it works. Let's continue on. I know I've kept you waiting for a little bit. Sorry about that, it's YouTube, but let me reveal what this lens actually is so you know what we're talking about. It is the Nikon 24mm AI f2 vintage lens. It's kind of weird that this lens is called the AI f2 and we used AI to select the music in this video. That was not planned, but it worked really well. I bought this lens on eBay for $245, and for the results that I'm getting and the absolute mint condition that this lens is in, 100% worth it, dude. It's so sick. And the fact that it covers full frame like on my A7S III or Super 35 is just super handy. I can use this on any camera. All I need to do is buy a cheap adapter from Amazon for like 12 bucks, and you can use this thing on whatever you want. So I'll tell you my favorite things about the lens, and then we'll get into a couple cons to wrap this baby up. First and foremost, it just doesn't look like a freaking digital camera lens. You know, I've just been getting sick of that, and this lens cured my illness, baby. It looks so raw, especially on Tucker's freaking Ursa, dude. It just looks so good. It looks more expensive than a $240 lens for sure. I love the background bokeh from this 24mm. It just looks really smooth, really creamy, and it doesn't look super wild like the Helios. I absolutely love the Helios 44-2. It's a really unique lens, but the flares and the bokeh can be very overwhelming on that lens, and it has a very specific look. Whereas this lens, you could get away with shooting like corporate stuff with this or pretty much anything, but it has like a softer, more natural, cinematic vintage look. You know what I'm talking about? I don't, I'm just hoping you do. And the minimum focus on this lens is basically the length from your thumb to the tip of your pinky. You can get extremely close to this lens, which gives you that ability to get really close to your talent and give you that like personal feeling where you can still see the wide background with the bokeh behind them. Let me talk about the flares. The flares on this lens were something I was not prepared for. They're absolutely beautiful.
Flaring like a mofo, bro.
We decided to shoot some of like the dribbling scenes and like the up close shots of my face when I'm recollecting to my childhood in this kind of sunny background with golden light coming behind me. And the flares were like purple and beautiful. And just like these soft flashes of purple would come into the frame. When you see that, you're like, okay, that's something special. That's a vintage lens. You're not gonna get that on a G Master or a Sigma. And from other angles, when Connor was filming with this camera, it was getting some orange flares.
It's for my mom.
So we have this cool purple-orange combination happening, but it's not overwhelming. And that's what I like. You get that vintage fun character, but it's not flooding your sensor. It's just a little spice on top. And now for the cons. So basically, the only downside I've discovered so far is the focus. It's backwards. When you think you're pushing your focus farther away from you, it's coming towards you because their rings are backwards for some reason.
The focus being backwards though, for my brain, that ain't it, cheated.
That's why we're counting on this guy right here. Yep, I just missed focus on you. There we go. Now, one solution to this that Tucker told me was you could set your camera up with a follow focus motor and calibrate it backwards. So basically you would operate it with normal brain like any other lens, but the lens focus motor would be doing things backwards for you. So you wouldn't have to worry about focusing backwards. You can just leave your brain wired the way it is, because honestly, your brain's beautiful, baby. Thank you to Uppbeat for sponsoring this. Thank you to you guys for watching. Watch out for deer. I love you. Text me when you get home. Subscribe. Bye.